Good evening and welcome to Pakistan Today from our Islamabad studio. I'm Victoria Lane. U.S. President Donald Trump has said talks with Iran are currently on the borderline between reaching a diplomatic breakthrough and the possible resumption of military strikes. Speaking to reporters at Joint Base Andrews near Washington, President Trump said negotiations could move very quickly if Iran provides what he described as 100% good answers. He warned that failure of the talks would leave the United States ready to act without delay. Trump added that a successful agreement would save time, energy, and lives. He also revealed that he postponed a planned strike earlier this week, following requests from Gulf states, highlighting ongoing regional diplomatic pressure to avoid escalation. Turning now to developments at the United Nations. Iran's ambassador has strongly criticized the UN Security Council, accusing it of failing to stop what he called unprovoked attacks by the United States and Israel. We are now joined by our correspondent Eric Westwood, reporting from New York City. Eric, what more is being said at the UN?
Thank you, Victoria. The Iranian ambassador to the United Nations delivered a sharp address to the Security Council, accusing it of inaction in the face of what he described as serious violations of international law. He argued that the Council has failed in its core responsibility due to obstruction by a permanent member allegedly involved in the aggression. The envoy further stated that the United States, Israel, and any supporting actors must bear full legal responsibility for their actions. He also warned that repeated threats from President Trump are setting a dangerous precedent for global stability. The session reflected deep divisions among member states over accountability and escalation risks in the region.
Thank you, Eric. Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has told U.S. President Donald Trump that disputes with Iran should be resolved through dialogue, welcoming the extension of the ceasefire between Washington and Tehran. According to the Turkish presidency, Erdogan described the ceasefire as a positive development and expressed optimism that a reasonable diplomatic solution remains possible. In a related move, Iran has announced tighter control over the Strait of Hormuz by establishing a new controlled maritime zone. Iranian authorities say vessels passing through the strategic waterway will now require prior permission, a step widely seen as increasing Tehran's leverage over one of the world's most critical shipping routes. In a key diplomatic engagement, Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi has met Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Tehran to discuss the evolving regional security situation. The Interior Minister also held meetings with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and other senior officials during his unannounced visit. This marks his second trip to Tehran in less than a week. Pakistan continues to intensify diplomatic efforts aimed at regional peace, having played a mediatory role in securing a ceasefire following recent conflict. Islamabad's efforts have been acknowledged by multiple stakeholders, while broader U.S.-Iran talks held in Islamabad earlier concluded without agreement. Pakistan and China have marked the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations with renewed pledges of cooperation and strategic partnership. President Asif Ali Zardari and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif extended greetings to Chinese leadership and President Xi Jinping. They highlighted decades of mutual trust and collaboration, reaffirming Pakistan's commitment to the One China policy. Both leaders emphasized that the relationship continues to contribute to regional peace, development, and shared prosperity, with China's support for Pakistan's sovereignty and development once again being strongly acknowledged. At the United Nations Security Council, Pakistan's Counselor Saima Salim has sharply criticized India, accusing it of exporting terrorism and weaponizing water resources. She alleged that proxy networks operate against Pakistan, with facilitation from Afghan soil. Saima Salim also raised concerns over the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, accusing India of human rights violations, including killings, detentions, and displacement of civilians. She further condemned the targeting of minorities, particularly Muslims, and India's suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, calling it a breach of international law. Pakistan, she reiterated, remains committed to peaceful dispute resolution and adherence to international norms. We are now joined by our correspondent Sarah William, reporting from Islamabad. Sarah, what are the latest developments on Pakistan's economic discussions with the IMF?
Thank you, Victoria. The International Monetary Fund delegation has concluded its scheduled talks with Pakistan and has now departed, while discussions are set to continue virtually. According to the Ministry of Finance, online negotiations will resume tomorrow to finalize budget targets for the fiscal year 2026 to 27. Pakistan has been asked to present a 3-year macroeconomic framework as part of conditions for the next loan tranche. The IMF has stressed the importance of broadening the tax base and improving revenue collection. Meanwhile, authorities in Islamabad have reiterated their commitment to maintaining a primary surplus of 2% of GDP by 2027, alongside continued energy sector reforms and monetary tightening measures aimed at controlling inflation.
Thank you, Sarah. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today. I'm Victoria Lane.